Hey guys, Cosmic here. I have a video for you guys to just share some of the changes on the RU PTS server for the upcoming new Tier 10 MBT balance changes in patch 0.21. Now, 0.20's balance isn't really fantastic for Tier 10 for MBTs. You've got the Armada and the XM1A3, and those are basically the undisputed rulers of high tier matches, and that's about it, really. The Leopard is completely underperforming in comparison. The Challenger is underperforming in comparison. Now, I actually made a video about some of the notes that I've read that were going to be coming in from the PTS. However, my impression there was very different from what I actually experienced, and I was very happy with what I experienced on the RU server, because I really like some of the changes that they've made. Anyhow, let's go over the Tier 10 MBTs and how they play in patch 2.21. So first up, we have the Challenger 2 ATDU. A lot of people love this tank and chose this when they reset, only to be really sorely disappointed. Well, first of all, your top turret weak points have been largely removed, with the exception of the gunner sight, which is still vulnerable to heat. But I think that's actually a fair trade-off. And in fact, many different tanks now have our hatch vulnerability to heat, including the Armada's side turret, unmanned turret now, is actually vulnerable and will take reduced damage, but it'll still take about like 300 damage from a shot with heat or pish. Anyhow, the ATDU in patch 0.21 PTS is a monster. It is slow, its turret traverse is slow, its tank traverse is slow, but its 140mm gun is the largest caliber, and it hurts when it connects. It packs a meaty punch, and this tank is just a monster now. Before, the Armada was both a very mobile tank, but also an extremely armored tank. Now the tank with the best armor is by far the Challenger 2 ATDU. Its armor is far trickier to deal with than the Armada, which I'll get to the Armada's armor in a little bit here. But yeah, the Challenger is by far the best armored, however it is the slowest, and it does have a very heavy-hitting gun. And I think it actually really works. I think it makes sense, and it plays very nicely. I very much enjoy how it feels. Now, you have to keep in mind you're non-invulnerable. You still have your driver's hatch. If you go ahead and get hit in the side, you will likely, if it's an MBT, you will likely take a pen. But still, it is an absolute monster and a beast and a pleasure to play. So I think a lot of Challenger players are going to really enjoy this patch, because it definitely got one hell of an upgrade here. And it's also worth mentioning that the way Heat and Pish have changed now is they've kind of moved largely to the same system that was in place back in 0.18. So your Pish, landing a Pish shell will do more damage. So landing a Pish round onto an Armada will give you 1,000 damage. So it's very, very satisfying to land those shots. Next up, we have the Leopard. Now, the Leopard used to be fantastic in patch 18. It really lost so much armor and so much of its utility in patch 19 and patch 20. Well, it's gotten both an armor buff, and its massive 900mm of penetration are now actually useful. That's because you're able to make shots onto the sides of tanks, which before you would not be able to do. So that actually has really brought it up as far as the strength of this tank. Furthermore, it's no longer the speedy, lightly armored tank. That actually was, or not quite lightly armored, but less armored tank. That actually was taken by that role was taken by the Armada, and so it actually can out-brawl an Armada in point-blank, face-hugging scenarios, which I was not expecting at all. So yeah, the Leopard owners should be intrigued by an interesting mix-up with a very good gun, it isn't quite as fast as it used to be, the tank itself, but its armor is actually a lot better and gives you a lot of utility. Now, the next tank that's been changed is the Abrams. I made a video basically being really concerned that they're going to basically kill the Abrams ready rack and make it useless. They have not done that. The XM1A3 has a faster turret traverse, it has a faster reload, but it has less damage with its 120mm. But the reload is faster, and its pen is still pretty great, so it actually works pretty nicely. Now the Abrams is faster than the Leopard and the Challenger, but it still is slower than the Armada, which is the fastest MBT in the game right now, tier 10. So it has a nice, it's a little bit on the faster side. It has a nice balance of armor and speed. It's a lower plate, it's still a fairly huge weak point, but its 1-2 punch remains fantastic as ever, and it has a lot of utility still. And it just feels really nice. So I have been really enjoying playing the Abrams on the PTS server. Finally, last, and most certainly not least, is the Armada. Now the Armada is still good, but they've definitely given it a hefty nerf in the way of giving it a substantial upper plate weak point. That means that it can't just absolutely bully and dominate in a brawl. However, that weak point is fairly difficult to hit from a distance when you're moving full speed. The Armada is now really fantastic at repositioning into new places, but you don't want to get up too close. You still want to kind of maintain some distance, try to find a hold down, and whatnot. And I think it actually serves the characteristics of the tank fairly well, especially since it has been for the longest time this very, very speedy tank. It gets a decent downside to that speed, while still able to go ahead and make good use of its strong points. So I think I'm still going to really enjoy the Armada, but I don't think it's going to be too good at everything as it used to be. Because before, it'd be able to just reposition, and if it finds itself in a brawl, no issue, it just face hugs and demolishes people and melts people. And now, you have to be a little bit more careful. You have the mobility to keep yourself out of brawls, but you should pick your fights a little bit more carefully, and don't just go head first without thinking what you're doing first. And yeah, that's a little bit of a taste of the new meta that we're going to be seeing in patch 0.21 once it hits live server. Now, of course, there could be changes which were made from the PTS, and I can't really guarantee everything will be the same. This seems to be more or less the kind of flavor and direction that they're going with. And I, for one, really welcome the changes. I think the tier 10 balance is going to get a lot better for MBTs. I think that a lot more tanks are going to be viable, as before, really, the Abrams and the Armada, it was Abrams or Armada or bust, really, to be honest. So I'm really excited to see this come out. I'm going to have a couple more, I'm going to share some individual matches with these tanks and how they play rebalanced. And keep an eye out for that. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. If you have any thoughts about the new balance and how they changed how MBTs play tier 10, let me know down in the comments below. Catch y'all next time.